Welcome to The Disappearing Mind, a unique podcast helping you find clarity and support along your dementia journey. Now, join National Dementia Trainer and Coach Dawn Platt for an all-new episode.
Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Dawn Platt. Thank you for tuning in today, for listening to the Disappearing Mind podcast. Today on the podcast, we are going to be talking about the dementia journey, 4 stages of understanding. During this time, I'm going to break each stage into segments so that we can kind of review what this looks like for the individual. We have talked about this before. The dementia journey can be a little bit different for everyone, depending on who you are, who it is that you love or care for that has dementia, and where you're at in the process. So let's go ahead and get started. The dementia journey, 4 stages of understanding. Today, I'm going to have a discussion about the dementia journey map, where we are and where we're going as individuals in relation to the dementia journey. And I want to liken this to several of my friends and colleagues who have someone who has dementia or had someone who had dementia who has since passed on, and kind of relate to how different it can be for each person. Again, depending on where you are in the family or whether this is a friend, a work acquaintance, or a very close relative. This walk can be different, and it does have very different stages of understanding that we're going to go through. So this process is a complex process and can vary greatly from person to person. Many times during this dementia journey, we can become very frustrated, and frustrations can run high, especially in families or situations where we feel helpless. And generally, when I am talking to family members or even personally, frustrations come when we really don't know what to do. I mean, let's break it down. We've never been here before, and we have a lot of questions, and we're simply looking for answers. Today, as we walk through this journey, I hope that I'm able to shed some light and resources on the areas where you might be experiencing frustration. The other part of this dementia journey is that depression can be common. Depression is typical in 40% of the cases of Alzheimer's disease or related dementias. It also can be very common with the caregiver, the caretaker, with those that are impacted by planning care for the individual. Depression is something that should be looked at. Treatment should be sought if possible. And certainly it's something that we don't want to overlook. Support is going to be key during this journey. And finding support in common places and uncommon places are going to be critical in your success. What do I mean by that? We talk about professional support groups or professional counseling, but many people find solace through a friend, maybe through a pastor or a priest, and others just find it through outlets such as a hobby that they have, poetry or any other relaxing techniques that someone might use. Support is going to be key. Having that outlet to release what you're going through, to be able to talk about it is going to be key. And relating to others who have walked this journey, whether they're common like yours or whether they're completely different, knowing that other people are going through this can provide some key support mechanisms for you as you walk through the dementia journey. Resources and information can be scarce. I know many families that I've worked with reach out probably to the most common places, such as the Alzheimer's Association or maybe a local Alzheimer's and dementia resource in your community or your local hospital, sometimes the things that you might be seeking can be a little bit more scarce. Perhaps you have a specific or personal kind of question that just isn't answered through the general information on the anatomy and physiology of Alzheimer's disease or related dementia. And so you will have to really seek out resources such as this podcast or more in-depth type of resources to really help you as you make decisions in the dementia journey. Oftentimes, this journey in itself is frightening. And the reason that it can be frightening is we've simply not walked this way before. And I think everything in our life, including the dementia journey and the 4 stages of understanding, are unique. And we all want to have some kind of control in our lives, including me. Really kind of understanding where we are and where we're going is going to provide a sense of solace. And I think that's something that we all seek. So let's go ahead and get into this. Let's talk about stage 1 in the 4 stages of understanding. In stage 1, keeping well, prevention, and finding out it's dementia. So in this stage is the I'm thinking about it stage. This can be for the person who perhaps is a granddaughter or daughter-in-law, perhaps someone who has a friend or a colleague whose parent has been diagnosed. This is where we maybe are not directly connected with dementia. We aren't diagnosed, or someone we know perhaps isn't diagnosed, but we are seeing that this disease is impactful to people's lives. And the portion of stage 1, keeping well, prevention, and finding out it's dementia, is important. And I think that the reason that this is important is that it's very rare with the increase of Alzheimer's, dementia, and related cognitive function that we don't know someone, at least know someone. In this stage, keeping well is important. When we're talking about this, if you're that person that is just thinking about this disease or know someone, or maybe you've just recently heard about a situation, lifestyle choices for brain health are really important. And in this, eating well, taking good care of any health problems that we might have that we know can contribute to cognitive health later in life. But just in general, being cognitive, just in general, making good choices for cognitive health now and in the future are going to be very important. There are several sciences and studies based on ways and factors to sharpen our memory and reduce our risk of Alzheimer's disease and other diseases, and really staying active, practicing good cognitive health, making cognitive screenings a part of our annual physical, and in general, good exercise, good diet, and taking good care of ourselves is really most important when we're talking about cognitive health. There is prevention that we see. There's lots of resources on brain healthy apps. There's brain healthy type of interventions that we see. There are even specialists that we can pay attention to and tap into in keeping well. Cognitive health is the next heart health. It's something that we all need to be aware of and where we are as we begin to age. We need to understand some of the factors that contribute to brain health and some of the instances where we see that people might be more prone as we age. We do see an increased percentage of people being diagnosed. We also see people that are morbidly obese, people who have out of control diabetes or heart issues that impact our vascular health. There are a number of factors, a sedentary lifestyle that do contribute to this. So keeping well is really, really important. Research and education I think that if we are truly going to be brain healthy and brain conscious, we need to understand what are the 10 warning signs of dementia. All of these resources are available on our resource page here at the podcast, as well as at the Alzheimer's Association. Your physician would have resources in relation to understanding the early warning signs of dementia. This is really important for us to know. After all, early detection means early treatment, and every day, every year, we are getting closer to the cure. Early stage indicators, again, another cueing or resource and education material that really is important for us to know and understand those early signs. And when I say that, it's interesting to know that people will often be in denial about memory issues or lapse of memory issues. There are a lot of factors that can contribute to that, including nutritional imbalances, low sodium, electrolytes, a lot of different factors. So it's really important that we tap into and kind of learn about some of these early indicators. Mild cognitive impairment, MCI, is a term that we're finding more common. We see testing for mild cognitive impairment as early as middle school. People are talking about cognitive health, the ability to recall, the ability to concentrate. Taking a look at that and becoming familiar with what MCI is. Again, those resources are available at the Alzheimer's Association. And what is normal aging versus dementia? A lot of people assume that Alzheimer's disease and related dementias are something that just happens naturally as you get older. And it just simply isn't a fact. There's a huge difference. I've talked about it on the podcast before. Again, research and education is going to be very important to know and understand the differences between good cognitive health and some dementia, early on dementia happening with someone's life. Getting a diagnosis. We want to be able to define and understanding Alzheimer's disease and dementia. We've talked about getting a diagnosis. And so I think that in your annual physical, this is something you want to begin talking about early on with your physician and early on and making sure that it's part of your annual physical. Alzheimer's disease and related dementias is a common growing disease that we see not just in the elderly, not just as we become seniors, but younger and younger onset we're beginning to see. So just being aware of what those factors are and having more information will help in this stage one as you're thinking about, not worrying about, but thinking about becoming aware of good cognitive health. And then if you are having some cognitive symptoms, it's really important to get a formal diagnosis. If you're having any memory issues at all, no matter your age, it's really good to get it checked out and to make sure that you're not having any early symptoms. There are a number of things we will continue to talk about, and that is cognitive screenings, cognitive evaluations, and now and recently new blood tests that have come out that we're going to be hearing more about, talking more about on the podcast that can really provide early indicators, early detection of Alzheimer's disease and related dementias. In our stage one, keeping well, prevention, and finding out it's dementia. This is really a preclinical topic that we want to be aware of, that we want to understand. And stay tuned, listen to the podcast often, and really take control of your cognitive health. Until next time, this is Dawn Platt. Make it a memorable day.
Thank you for joining us for the Disappearing Mind podcast. We hope it's helped you find clarity and support along your journey. Be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode, visit our website to suggest future topics, and share the podcast with friends and family.